Ain't nobody in Maple Ridge ever put money on Jack Turner. Not once. If there was a list of folks destined to stay stuck, his name would have been scribbled right at the top, underlined twice. Jack was that dude everyone nodded at out of politeness but never really saw mid-30s. Shoulders slumped from too many late nights. Face always tired like sleep owed him money. His boots were cracked, his jeans faded, and his old pickup rattled like it was held together by duct tape and pure stubbornness. Jack was a single dad, which around here already meant life was playing on hard mode. His little boy, Ethan, was 6 years old, big eyes, quiet kid. Always clutching his dad's hand like the world might snatch him away if he let go. Jack worked whatever he could get. Mornings at the lumber yard, nights fixing engines in a grimy garage that smelled like oil and regret. Some weeks he barely scraped rent. Other weeks he straight up chose between gas and groceries, and still, every morning, he packed Ethan's lunch like it was the most important job on earth. Folks in town talked. They always do. Good guy, but he ain't going nowhere. Shoulda left town years ago. Sad situation. That one. Nobody said it to his face, but Jack heard it anyway. Small towns got loud silence. The only time Jack ever cracked a smile was when Ethan had a school thing. Didn't matter if Jack came straight from work, hands still greasy. Shirt wrinkled to hell, he showed up, sat in those tiny chairs, clapped loud, and looked at his kid like he was already somebody special. That's where Emily Carter first noticed him. Emily was newish to town, not rich, not flashy, but sharp, the kind of woman who listened more than she talked. She volunteered at the school library, helped with bake sales, always smiling like she meant it. She saw Jack struggling with the vending machine one afternoon, digging for loose change. Instead of judging, she slid $1 over like it was nothing. Jack tried to refuse. Pride's a stubborn thing. Emily just shrugged and said, "Kids get hungry, ain't that deep?" From that day on, they talked just small stuff at first, weather, kids' life being rough. Sometimes Emily didn't look at Jack like he was broken. She looked at him like he was trying, and that messed Jack up more than pity ever could. Word spread fast when folks saw Emily walking with Jack, helping him carry groceries, sitting with Ethan at the park. People whispered, some shook their heads, some laughed behind hands. Emily heard it all and didn't care. Jack cared too much, but he kept quiet. Months passed. Jack never pretended to be more than he was. He told Emily straight up he was broke, tired, and came with baggage. He told her he had nothing to offer but honesty and effort. Emily told him that was more than most men ever gave. Then one night, under a flickering porch light outside Jack's rundown house, he did something nobody expected. He proposed. No fancy ring, just a cheap band he bought after skipping meals for weeks. His hands shook, voice cracked. He said he didn't have much, but he'd give her everything he had. Every single day. Emily didn't hesitate. She said yes like it was the easiest decision of her life. The town lost its mind. Girl must be crazy. She throwing her life away. That man can't even take care of himself. Jack heard it all. He didn't fight it, didn't explain. Just put his head down and kept going. Folks didn't know the whole story, and Jack planned to keep it that way, because what nobody in Maple Ridge knew was that Jack Turner wasn't broke by accident and the man they wrote off as nothing. He was hiding something big enough to flip the whole town upside down. Asterisk, the day Jack and Emily got married, Maple Ridge showed up, but not out of love, curiosity mostly. Some came just to see the train wreck they were sure was coming. The ceremony was held in the little community hall near Main Street, the one with the crook steps and the flickering lights that never got fixed. Folding chairs lined up, all sloppy, fake flowers borrowed from 3 different weddings, and a speaker that crackled every time someone cleared their throat. Emily looked happy as hell though. Not rich, not fancy, just real. Simple dress, hair pulled back, smile steady. Jack stood beside her in his only decent suit, shoulders stiff, jaw tight, like he was bracing for impact. You could feel the side-eye in the room. Folks smirking murmurs floating around like gnats. She could have done better. Man can barely keep the lights on. Wonder how long this one lasts. Jack didn't look at them. He kept his eyes on Emily. Like the rest of the world didn't even exist when they said, "I do." He said it like it meant something. Like it was a promise carved in stone after the wedding. There wasn't no big party, just homemade food, paper plates, and awkward small talk. Emily's friends hugged her tight. Whispering encouragement. Jack's side was mostly empty. Not 'cause he didn't have family, but 'cause he didn't want him there. Not yet, that night. Jack drove Emily and Ethan back to the house on the edge of town, the one folks liked to call that shack, when they thought no one was listening. Paint peeling, porch sagging, wind whistling through cracks in the walls. Emily stepped inside and didn't flinch. She smiled, set her bag down, and said, "All right, let's make this home." And she meant it. Days turned into weeks. Emily went full ride or die. She patched holes, scrubbed floors, cooked meals that stretched for days. She treated Ethan like he was her own flesh and blood, helped with homework, braided his hair before school, tucked him in every night. Jack watched it all like he was scared to blink, scared it'd disappear if he looked away too long. But the town? The town stayed judgmental. People stared when they saw Emily riding in Jack's beat-up truck. Cashiers gave that look when Jack counted coins at the register. Folks assumed Emily would crack any day now, that she'd wake up and realize love don't pay bills. What they didn't see was the way Jack worked himself into the ground. Dawn to dusk. 2 jobs, sometimes 3. He never complained, never asked for help. He just kept grinding, but there was something strange. Jack started disappearing at night, not every night, but enough to notice. He'd kiss Emily on the forehead, tell her he had work stuff, and be gone for hours. Sometimes he came back clean, sometimes dusty, sometimes looking like he'd been thinking way too hard about something heavy. Emily noticed. She ain't dumb, but she didn't push. Trust was her thing still. Things didn't add up. Jack never seemed as desperate as folks thought he should be. When bills piled up, he didn't panic. When the truck broke down, he fixed it easy. He never borrowed money, never begged, never stressed loud, almost like he knew everything would be fine. Then there was the lock drawer. Emily found it one afternoon while cleaning. Solid wood, heavy lock, way nicer than anything else in the house. She didn't open it, just touched it, and felt that weird buzz in her chest, like a secret humming. Underneath everything that night, Emily asked him straight up if there was something. He wasn't telling her. Jack froze, not angry, not defensive, just quiet. The kind of quiet that screams louder than words. He took a long breath, looked at Ethan asleep on the couch, then back at Emily. "Soon," he said. "I promise." "Just not yet." Emily nodded. She trusted him, even with the side eye, even with the smirks, even with the whole town waiting for them to fall apart. What nobody knew was this marriage wasn't built on lies. It was built on patience, and whatever Jack was hiding, it was getting real hard to keep buried. That locked drawer stayed in Emily's head like a song you can't turn off. She didn't mess with it, didn't try to pry it open or nothing, but every time she walked past it, her eyes slid right back to it. It just didn't belong in that house. Too solid, too clean, like it came from a whole different life. Jack noticed her looking. Of course he did. He always noticed, but he still didn't say a word. Life kept rolling. Jack worked. Emily held the house together. Ethan grew faster than either of them expected, but the vibe in the air? It was thick like a storm sitting just beyond the hills, waiting on the right moment to roll in. Then one night, things finally cracked. It was late, real late. Emily was half asleep on the couch when she heard the front door creak open. Jack stepped in slow, boots dusty, knuckles scraped up like he'd been dealing with rough edges all night. He didn't say nothing, just stood there for a second, looking at Emily like he was weighing his whole life in that moment. "You tired?" he asked. Emily sat up. "Yeah, but not too tired to talk." Jack sighed deep, the kind of sigh that comes from years of holding stuff in. He walked over to that old dresser, knelt down, and pulled out the locked drawer, set it on the table like it was heavy, not in weight, but in meaning. This is why, he said, why I disappear. Why folks don't know me. Why we living like this. Emily's heart started thumping. She didn't rush him. She never did. Jack pulled a key from around his neck. Emily had never seen it before. He unlocked the drawer and slid it open. Inside wasn't money or guns or anything wild like that. Just papers, deeds, maps, documents stamped with seals. Emily only ever saw in movies. Jack closed it again and said, "Tomorrow I gotta show you something, can't explain it right. You gotta see it." Emily nodded, didn't ask questions. That's how deep her trust ran. The next morning, Jack woke them up before sunrise, threw a bag in the truck. Packed snacks for Ethan. Told Emily to wear something comfortable. He didn't say where they were going, just said it was time. They drove past Maple Ridge, past the old farms and busted fences, past dirt roads that didn't even have names anymore. Emily watched the town fade away in the rearview mirror and felt that tight knot in her chest grow bigger. Ethan fell asleep in the back seat. Emily stared out the window. Jack's hands were steady on the wheel, jaw set like a man who finally made up his mind. After an hour, Jack turned off the main road. After 2, Emily realized they were deep, real deep. Trees, thick, cell service gone. Road smooth, though too smooth for the middle of nowhere. Then, Emily saw a massive iron gate stretched across the road, black and tall, with stone pillars on each side. Cameras tucked into corners. Clean, maintained, protected. Jack slowed the truck and pulled out the key. Emily laughed once, short and nervous. This some kind of joke? Jack didn't smile. The gate opened smooth and quiet, like it had been waiting on him. They drove through winding roads lined with trimmed trees and open land that went on forever. Then the house came into view. No mansion, huge, white stone, tall windows, balcony stretching, wide fountain out front. Still running. The place looked untouched, like it had been frozen in time. Emily's breath left her body. Jack parked the truck and finally turned to her. "I ain't broke," he said quietly. "I just walked away." Emily stepped out slow, legs shaky. She looked at the house, then at Jack, then back again. Her whole understanding of her husband flipped sideways. Jack explained as they walked up the steps about his past, about money that came with strings, about a family that wanted control more than love, about walking away when they tried to take his kid after his wife died. "This place," he said, "it's mine. Always was. I just didn't want it raising my son." Emily didn't yell, didn't cry. She just listened. Inside, everything was spotless, like someone kept it ready just in case. Emily realized Jack had been maintaining this place the whole time. Quietly, secretly. "You could have lived here," she whispered. Jack shook his head. "Not like that. Not without you knowing who I really was." Emily took his hand. "You didn't lie," she said. "You chose." And that was when Emily understood the locked door wasn't about secrets, it was about survival. And once that gate opened, there was no closing it again. The mansion felt quiet in a way that messed with your head. Not empty, just still, like it was holding its breath. Emily walked through those wide halls slow, her footsteps echoing, trying to wrap her mind around the fact that her husband, the same man who counted coins at the grocery store, owned a place like this. Jack watched her carefully. Like he was scared she'd look at him different now. They sat in the big living room, sunlight spilling in through tall windows, dust floating in the air. Jack rubbed his hands together, nerves showing for the first time in a long while. "This ain't the life I wanted," he said. "It's the life I escaped." Emily didn't rush him. She leaned back and let him talk. Jack grew up rich, old rich. The kind where money didn't need to flex, 'cause it already ran things behind the scenes. His family owned land, companies, politicians, power, with a clean smile and dirty hands from the outside. They looked perfect. Inside? Cold as hell. Jack was groomed for it since he was a kid. Private school's manners drilled into him. Lessons on how to control people without ever raising your voice. They didn't teach love. They taught leverage. Then he met Sarah. She wasn't supposed to be part of his world. No money, no connections. Just real. She laughed loud, spoke her mind, and didn't give a damn about his last name. Jack fell hard. His family hated that they tolerated her, smiled fake. Waited. Sarah got pregnant. That's when things turned ugly. They pushed Jack to leave her, offered deals, threatened consequences. When Jack refused, they played the long game after Ethan was born. They started talking lawyers, talking what's best for the child. They wanted custody control, a future molded in their image. Then Sarah died. Car accident, sudden, clean, on paper, messy in Jack's gut. He never proved nothing, but he never trusted it either. That was the moment Jack snapped at the funeral. His family talked business while his world fell apart. That night, they told him straight, give them Ethan. And they'd give him everything. The mansion, the money, the power. Jack said no. He packed what he could, grabbed his son, and disappeared. Changed addresses, cut ties, took the hardest road on purpose. He left the mansion untouched, kept it locked up like a grave. Not because he couldn't live there, but because he wouldn't. I buried that life, Jack said, voice low, same as I buried the man they wanted me to be. Emily's chest hurt listening to it. She reached for his hand, squeezed it tight. But why keep it? She asked. Jack looked around the room. Because walking away don't mean giving it back to him. It's leverage insurance. A reminder that I chose my kid over comfort. Jack explained how he kept everything legal, protected, distant. No contact. No headlines. No trace leading back to Maple Ridge. He lived small so his family wouldn't look his way. He stayed broke on paper so nobody came sniffing. Emily realized something heavy. Then Jack wasn't playing poor. He was hiding. And now? Emily asked. Jack exhaled slow. Now I told you. Which means it won't stay buried much longer. As if on cue, Jack's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He didn't answer, just stared at it like it was a ghost knocking. They always find out eventually, he said. Money got a way of waking up old demons. Emily stood up straighter. Then we face 'em together. Jack smiled, real this time, not tired. Not guarded. Just relieved. Outside, the fountain kept running. Inside, the truth settled in the past. Jack buried alive? It wasn't done with him yet, and when it clawed its way back, the whole town was going to feel it. Secrets don't stay buried in small towns. They leak, they drip. Then they flood Emily. And Jack didn't announce nothing, didn't post pictures, didn't throw a party at the mansion. They just went back to Maple Ridge like normal, same beat-up truck, same routines. Same quiet life, but something about Jack had changed. He walked lighter, stood straighter, like a man who finally dropped 100-pound weight off his chest, and people noticed. First, it was the truck getting fixed overnight. Not patched, fixed. Then Jack quit the garage job without panic. Then the old house on the edge of town got a new roof. No loans, no drama, just done. Folks started talking then. Somebody saw the gate. It didn't take long. After that, a local contractor bragged at the bar about a private estate he got. Paid real good to work on. Another guy recognized Jack's name on paperwork he wasn't supposed to see by the end of the week. Maple Ridge was buzzing like a kicked hornet's nest. Jack Turner? That Jack Turner? No damn way, the story twisted as it traveled. Some said he was a secret millionaire. Others said old family money. A few went full conspiracy, talking crime and cover-ups. Truth didn't matter, shock did, and suddenly, the tune changed. People who wouldn't make eye contact before were smiling hard now. Real hard. Folks invited Jack to dinners, offered drinks, pitched ideas. Men who once laughed behind his back now slapped him on the shoulder, like they'd been boys forever. Emily watched it all with her jaw clenched. She saw the fake friendliness, the sudden respect, the hunger in people's eyes. It made her sick. Jack? He stayed the same boots, same truck, same calm voice. He didn't brag, didn't deny, didn't explain. Just nodded, listened, and went about his business. Then the town council meeting happened out of nowhere. Jack showed up. Sat in the back, listened when they started talking about school funding cuts. Jack raised his hand. Room went quiet. "I'll cover it," he said. "Anonymous if you want." Dead silence from that point on. It was open season. The school got upgrades. Roads got fixed. The local clinic stayed open. Jobs popped up where there used to be none, and Jack made damn sure nobody could trace it back to him easy. He wasn't buying praise. He was building stability. People started feeling real small about how they treated him. Some apologized, some avoided him, some doubled down on acting friendly. But everyone felt it, that shame mixed with gratitude. Emily saw the switch up clear as day. The same woman who once told her, "Hope you know what you're doing," now asked for business advice. The same guy who mocked Jack at the bar now wanted help expanding his shop. Emily smiled polite and kept receipts in her head. Then one night, Jack took Emily back to the mansion. "I gotta decide something," he said. He stood in the big office, looking out over land that stretched forever. Emily knew what he meant without him saying it. His family, the money, the power structure he'd left behind. They gonna come. Jack said, "Sooner or later, town's already buzzing. That kind of noise travels." Emily stepped beside him. "Then let it. We ain't hiding." Jack nodded. He made a call that night. One he'd avoided for years, set boundaries, drew lines, made it clear his life, his kid, and his wife were off limits. The town felt the ripple before they knew why. Big players backed off. Lawyers went quiet. Old names stopped floating around. By the time Maple Ridge fully realized what happened, Jack Turner wasn't just the broke dad anymore, was the man who saved the town without rubbing it in their faces, and that hit harder than any flex ever could. But deep down, everyone knew one thing: they had judged the wrong man. Asterisk. By the time everything settled, Maple Ridge didn't feel like the same town anymore. Streets were smoother, schools were louder with kids again, businesses stayed open past sunset, folks smiled easier, laughed louder. But the biggest change? How people looked at Jack Turner and Emily, not with pity, not with doubt, with respect. And that still felt weird as hell to Jack. He never asked for it, never chased it. He was still the same man who packed lunches, checked homework, and fixed things with his own hands. Money didn't change him. It just peeled back the cover folks slapped on him without asking. One evening, Jack and Emily sat on the porch of their old house, the same one everyone used to laugh at. They kept it on purpose. It reminded them where they started. Ethan ran around the yard, laughing, dirt on his knees, safe. That was the whole point. "You ever wish I'd told you sooner?" Jack asked. Emily leaned back in her chair. "Nah, if you told me too early, folks would have said I stayed for the money this way." "Nobody can say a damn thing," Jack smiled. She wasn't wrong. Word still spread about the mansion, the money, the old family name, but it didn't own them. They owned it. Jack kept his boots muddy. Emily kept her heart sharp. They lived where they wanted, not where money told them to. One day, someone new in town asked Emily what it felt like finding out your broke husband was actually loaded. Emily laughed. "I married a man," she said, "not a bank account." That answer traveled almost as fast as the rumor ever. Did Jack taught Ethan the same lesson that real wealth was? Choice, that you could have everything and still choose less if it kept your soul clean. That people show you who they are when they think you got nothing. And Emily? She became something else in town, not the girl who married poor, not the lucky wife, but the woman who never flinched when things were hard. She stayed when secrets came out. She listened when money showed up. She didn't change. That kind of love made people uncomfortable, because it proved something most didn't want to face, that love ain't about safety. And that's her status. It's about standing there when the floor feels shaky and not running. Jack stood at the town square one day watching kids play. Emily beside him, Ethan between them. "You ever regret it?" he asked. "Marrying a struggling dad?" Emily looked at him sideways. "You serious?" He shrugged. "Just asking." She grabbed his hand. "I married a man who chose his kid over power, chose love over comfort, chose hard over hollow. That ain't regret, that's pride." Jack swallowed hard later that night, back at the mansion. Jack locked the gate behind them, not to hide, but to protect peace. The past was still there, but it didn't own them anymore. They built a life that didn't flinch when the truth came out, didn't crumble under money, didn't bend under judgment, didn't break when the world finally paid attention. Maple Ridge learned something from Jack and Emily. Whether they meant to teach it or not, never judge someone by what they carry on the surface. Never assume struggle means failure. And never underestimate love that shows up when there's nothing to gain, because the strongest love, it don't flinch.